coming out of an absolutely wild weekend. What a war zone that was, unless you were long Sol, unless you were long Trump, and then later entry Melania even came to the party. So we're going to break down this wild weekend we have just had. We're going to see what type of effect it has had on the market. Then we obviously watching this Trump inauguration. It is happening live in the background. So I'm going to be covering a lot of these altcoins here while we're getting price action. We're going to see if we're going to get a little dip into some zones for us, or are we going to be shorting the shit out of a couple of things, guys. So we got so much to talk about here today. Let's get right into this. Guys, and remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe, and happy inauguration day, I guess. Are we going to pump? Are we going to dump? I must tell you, there's someone sitting here. He's got his tinfoil hat on regarding Ethereum. This man thinks ETH. There's a secret sauce happening with ETH. So we're going to talk to him just now as well. He's got a theory that we're going to bring to the party. Okay, banter bubbles, Trump minus 21%. I mean, okay, cool. A little bit of downside today. That's fine. Fartcoin 19% down. I believe that thing was ripping this weekend. Are we going to get an entry? I've got a Fartcoin chart ready for you with a hot VWAP. It looks like a few percent away that we could get some kind of bounce. Then Ondo's -8, but we know that has been quite a big performer relative to other alts at the moment. And then Radium, one of the absolute bangers here. That is Sol strength play. And if you're trading this weekend, I mean, you would have noticed Radium was absolutely ripping as well with some Solana. So nice little moves, but then lots of retracement. So let's look at BTC right now. And then we're going to start looking at a couple of things in the news. I'm going to break down these meme coins for you guys, for those of you that missed it. So just for the sake of this potential Trump pump or dump, I've had to pick a side. Okay, so I went long BTC here, and we're going to see. I've also taken a small Trump long. Now, that's the Trump meme coin. So, yeah, I mean, copy me at your peril. We're going into an absolute war zone here, but you can see BTC at the moment sitting on $105,000. We got a nice strong wick here to the underside here, pushing up a little bit. So maybe we are going to get a little bit of action. And then obviously this ETH situation is intriguing. So right now for me, I would say watch these lows, 103,700. Watch these wick lows that we've just had. Now, anything can happen now while Trump is talking. Apparently he's going to be signing 200 orders or something along those lines. So we are going to get volatility, no doubt about it. I think if we do get a push up today, we're going to look to take out this wick at about 109K, and that might give us a little TP for these longs that we are in now, or a possible short opportunity here. So 109, 110, I wouldn't write that off as a potential short zone that we get, say, in the next few minutes. Now, if we start reversing, it's going to depend what goes down here with Trump. But if we do start reversing, big levels that I want you to pay attention to, 101,980, call it 102K. Then we're going to look at the lows again, which was our 99,700. Now, that was our VWAP trend retest and major daily level retest that we had this weekend. So 99,500, that's an absolute banger zone. If we do come back into that area, that is something you're going to be watching. Now, I don't want to go much lower than that. It's going to get pretty ugly if we are, but this is the current situation. So rumors on ETH things. I'm going to show you what Eric Trump said about ETH earlier today as well. They're talking about doing some huge things with ETH. So maybe it's worth just a little speculative position here. And then I'm sitting in BTC. Now, obviously, what we are doing here is incredibly high risk, okay, while we're waiting for Uncle Donald to do what he needs to do. So if you are taking these very high risk trades, just make sure you've got risk management in play. You can see I've got to stop under those lows at the moment. 103,580 is what I'm watching now on BTC. So keeping it tight, keeping it simple. And while this is going on, you can see it's live, okay? So the shit's going down. The inauguration is happening. I'm not going to bore you with watching this whole thing right now, but I do have James on standby here. He's watching some Twitter feeds for us, and he's going to keep us posted. If anything interesting happens, we're going to obviously talk about it. So that is running live in the background. But what has gone on this weekend? And I mean, obviously, you've seen P&Ls of people making ridiculous amounts of money on Solana, obviously the Trump coins and things like that. But what about everything else? What about everyone else who got rinsed this weekend? Are you feeling pissed off at the current situation? Because I'm quite annoyed that there was a Trump coin. Okay, that was nice. But then there was another one, and it almost sort of rubbed salt into the wounds that all these other altcoins, the whole market got bled out. Unless you were Solana and a couple of Trump coins, you were actually getting rinsed this weekend. So it was pretty messy. And $1 billion in leveraged crypto positions got liquidated in 24 hours. As Bitcoin plunged 6%. Now, that was a lot earlier today, but there was a lot of pressure there on the market. And now Charlie's just given us such a great meme. He says, yeah, there's always another trade. Now, I mean, guys, how many of these have we got? And how many of these have we missed? But look at this. This is us in the middle here sometimes. Missed whiff. Missed XRP, missed Fartcoin, missed Pepe, missed Trump. Well, look, I definitely missed Trump. I'd say I've missed Fartcoin a couple of times, and I missed the start of XRP, but I didn't miss the whole XRP. I know James didn't miss it. James got the whole, he got the whole fucking thing. Okay, he got all of XRP. But yeah, I mean, guys, don't be upset with yourselves. Okay, obviously, you know, it happens along the way. Just make sure that you're always paying attention to the show and you watching the alpha all the time. So. Just to break down what happened, if you guys are wondering, so Uncle Donald launched his own meme coin, and I think it exceeded expectations. But what it did was start sucking up liquidity in the market. Like all these altcoins started getting absolutely rinsed, except Solana, which pumped all-time highs. I think Sol hit 295. I was feeling very smug and happy, but at the same time, Sol was bringing my account up, my trading account so high, but everything else was getting absolutely smashed. So it was kind of a bittersweet feeling while we watched Sol pump us to the moon. Now, who is Trump's crypto advisor? Is it the 𝗙𝗥𝗔𝗥𝗡𝗚? Because I don't know about the current strategy here, because, you know, you launch that meme coin, it sucks liquidity, it's cute, it's fun, everyone had a laugh. But then what happens last night? They come again. Like how? Why would you do that? Okay, it just doesn't feel right. It feels that, you know, it just feels like getting taken advantage of here. And Unusual Whale says the Melania meme coin site was literally set up yesterday. The domain created yesterday. Okay, so this thing was put together really quickly based on obviously the performance of that Trump meme, and they were obviously quite excited about themselves, and they decided to go again. Now, for me, it didn't leave a very happy taste in my mouth. And you can see there was you can actually watch them now on one of these channels there out in the market. You can see the old couple that fucked the entire community. I mean, they're from Grinding Poets. So did the guys get rinsed? Guys, I don't know. It was a frustrating experience for me. And all this happening while 𝗟𝗓𝗟𝗟𝗓 has now resigned. Okay, now, do we owe him an apology after all of this? So he's out, okay? And Ash says, Gary, I think we all need to say this. We're sorry. You were right. Our space is a joke. But anyway, let's look, okay? Let's start with the first of two meme coins. Here is Trump. And I've taken a small long on Trump. Now, remember, this thing is incredibly volatile. So a small position can get you absolutely rinsed here. So be super careful with how you are playing this. But I thought after this little bleed out today and a slight little double bottom in play here, maybe there was an opportunity for a little bit of Trumpage pumpage. So looking for this, I've got a tiny position. I'm going to show you that one in a second on Bybit. But yes, looking for a little bit of action here. Let's see where we go. And, you know, you can see the drama. I mean, can you imagine, other than me, the guys that try to short this on the weekend? Look at this. Look at this full situation here. So there's a lot of action on this thing. Melania came out last night. We were watching this one live on Chart Hackers as well. We were watching this last night. And I mean, there was 60% wicks here at one point on the 5-minute candle. So it was pretty brutal. This section over here, these were 60% wicks that we were watching. And then after all of that, after all those wicks, this thing still pumped another 540%. Okay, and Limit X says Trump rinsed me. Look, they rinsed a lot of people. It wasn't a good vibe. I mean, I didn't enjoy watching myself getting rinsed on everything except Solana. I mean, it was a pretty tough ride. And Shifty says Gary would never have let that shut slide. Guys, who else is in the chats? How are you guys feeling here? I see Kimmy's in the house. Hello, Kimmy. And J Dog says the Trump pump dump. And Stefan says hacker's going to be hacking after this. Guys, we're working on it. Okay, how's everyone feeling? Are we salty? Are we looking for entries? Are you upset? Look, I must say, we had a couple of bangers the last few days. I think, to be fair, DJ Dave nailed that super short that we called on Friday on the show. Then we were looking at a lot of pullbacks on Friday on the show, but unfortunately some of them went way deeper, and we're going to blame it on the Trump token there that they've sent us even deeper than expected. But to be fair, we got a couple of shorts, and then last night we had a banging session on Chart Hackers as well, and we caught the bonk short, so that was pretty decent as well. But I think Uncle Run summed this up, the whole drama. He summed this thing up quite nicely. He says, I was okay with the Trump coin because of the signal it sent to the world. Yeah, sure. And then after Melania, it's clear that they are now grifting at the expense of the entire crypto community, sucking liquidity out of the rest of the market. Okay, so I mean, yeah, it just left a bad taste for me. It was so bullish, like they're launching on Sol, it's bullish Sol, like forget about ETH, you know, it's great for the market and all these things. And then they came again and they did us again. And I just feel it was wrong. Okay, I just don't think it was right what went down. If you want to hunt some of these things, well, AM Crypto has just given you a list here. So he says, I know you missed Trump and Melina, and he says, don't lose hope. There's maybe 40 more coins to come. So Donald, what do we got? Melania, we got Donald Trump Jr., we got Ivanka, Eric, Tiffany, Barron. And look, these guys look like pretty much degenerates here. So I wouldn't put it past them launching a couple of these next Trump coins. So I think pay attention to wherever you found out wherever you heard it first. Make sure you are following those particular accounts, because if they launch their own meme coins, you want to make sure you got these guys on notifications so you can get in early, because that Melania came out and there was a lot of time last night. We were watching this one here on Hackers Live at about the $2 mark, and there was time to get in. So make sure you are following those Twitter accounts, guys. And then a couple of things happening here. The creation of a Bitcoin strategic reserve odds is just skyrocketing. Will Trump create the reserve in 100 days? Now, there was a rumor today that it was going on today. James, am I correct? There was a rumor floating around that the reserve was going to get signed in today.
Well, that's it. I'm scrolling through here, and apparently one of the rumored executive orders is going to be that he's removing capital gains from crypto, whether it's I think these American coins that he's been talking about, right? So that's one of them. They're talking about a reserve. There's all sorts of things that they're speculating, right? So I think we're going to see some volatility. He comes out with the stuff that everyone thinks he's going to. I think we're going to go insane. If he says none of it,
if he says none, we're going down. I mean,
if he doesn't say, because everyone's just pricing this in and expecting it at this point. If he is quiet about this and just is talking about, world events and whatever, and the border and whatever else he's worried about, we're going down. So careful out there, everybody. Tighten up your stop losses.
Guys, proper volatility on the way here. And just a reminder, American coins, you're looking at things like, you can go as deep as SUI, you can go HBAR, you can go Cardano, that's ADA, you can go XRP. And well, we're going to look at a couple of these now today, because we can see XRP is actually looking good on the chart. It broke out of a flag a little bit earlier today. So just one more stop before we jump into some altcoins. The S&P is closed today. And just a notable thing, we'll obviously see how this reacts tomorrow to the current situation. But Nancy Pelosi is starting to buy stocks again. So she's filed for these trades in stocks. She's bought some Google, she's bought some Amazon, she's bought Nvidia. So maybe she's feeling a little bit bullish again. Maybe it's time for a little bit of pumpage there from that front. And okay, so this long starting to churn higher. We'll see how we go as the show progresses. James, just keep us posted if you see anything super exciting there for us. Okay, let's talk why I'm thinking that short zone to the upside makes sense. Well, just to look at the liquidation map today, if we do get a push higher, you can see we've got a very juicy zone here, 109 up to about 111. That is a big area there for me to the upside. 109 to 111 is what you're going to be watching there. And that does tie in with that potential short area that I mentioned earlier. And that is just that push up into that region for us, clean out that wick, and then send us down. Stefan says he's long Trump and long Doge. I mean, that could be a play as well. And then just touching, guys, on the BTC daily chart, you can see we've had our trend break, we've had a bullish retest. So far, as long as we're not losing, I would say, the 98K zone, that's our 50-day MA. As long as we're not losing that 98K zone, I would say we're relatively bullish here on BTC. Now, we don't really want to see another massive dump here, because I think that's going to really hurt some of these alts. But right now, that dump yesterday did cause a few problems, but I think another dump is really going to start hurting us. So let's get into a couple of alts here. And you can see this total 3 chart, which is the entire altcoin market, excluding Bitcoin and ETH, looks pretty much identical to Bitcoin at the moment. It's reclaimed the 50-day. It's retested the 50-day. So we don't want to get too bearish on this guy as long as we're holding the 1 trillion mark. And ultimately does look a bit like BTC. We did drop onto the 50 and bounce. And just like you saw on the BTC chart, same story, trend retest. Obviously, we front ran that 50 a bit, but nice strong move there from that perspective. And then dominance, well, the bullish dominance has played out. As much as we didn't want to see it, we had the inverse head and shoulders on dominance. The signs were there. Okay, the signs were there that the rinsage was in play. And what we wanted to see at the time, remember, we wanted to see the candles closing under the 50-day and the 200-day MA. And they never did that for us. And that is where we got caught up in some of these alts getting rinsed now with this bullish dominance. So for me, if we are going to get a rejection in dominance, you can see the oscillator telling me that we are potentially going a little bit higher as well. So if we are going to push higher, guys, that for me is going to be my target, just under 60%, where we get a proper relief move on these altcoins. So naturally, we could reject early. Again, we could start sending down, and then these alts on some of the levels that I'm going to give you now are going to start moving off their current levels that I'm going to show you. And if they do pump higher, well, if dominance does pump higher, we're going to look at the next level lower down on the altcoins for the bounce. So just be prepped, and remember, all these charts that I'm going to give you, just pick your favorites and focus on those ones. When the market moves quickly, sometimes you don't have time to look at 8 or 10 charts. So pick some of your favorites that you like, some of the coins you're going to see here today, and just mark on your charts those levels and those areas where there are zones of interest. And remember, these charts also go straight into Chart Hackers directly after the show. So you will have access for them or to them over there. Okay, let's go. Eric Trump posted this today. So we saw Look on Chain saying the world liberty, what's it? Trump's world liberty, what does he call it? Trump's world liberty something. Okay, they're buying tons and tons of altcoins, and they spent another $20 million buying 6,000 ETH at 3,300. Okay, so they're not scared to buy some ETH in spite of ETH getting so much abuse over the last couple of days. And we saw a lot of situations where how many people sold all their ETH to buy Sol because Trump launched this token on Solana. Now, before we jump into the ETH chart, can we just get your tinfoil hat on quickly? Tell me your theory.
Yeah, I have a feeling, and I've been scouring Twitter for most of the early morning this morning here. People speculating that this whole meme coin business was done because it's. I mean, Sol was broken last night. When that all happened, you couldn't get a transaction through. Tons of people got into Melania and couldn't get out and got rinsed because they got stuck. Phantom wouldn't work. None of the Photon, none of the nothing would work. Right? It was broken there. But thinking that this is a shifty play on Trump's part, because in the background here, they're buying up ETH with this World Liberty Financial left, right, and center. I just saw a new tweet that they're up to 160 million they bought since yesterday. It was 6 million, 10 million, 14 million. It's 160 million now they've dumped in. And they also went and bought a bunch of domains, ETH.ETH domains. There's a Donald Trump.ETH, there's a Don Jr.ETH. So there's something cooking here with ETH. And I wonder if they didn't just try to damage Sol here.
A red herring.
Right. Go in and get ETH cheap. And now they're going to name ETH as one of the reserve, because that's what I just saw too, that people speculating that ETH will be named as a secondary reserve along with Bitcoin.
Well, I mean, Jason thinks you're quite handsome here in the chat, so that's
he's not so bad himself.
That's always a good start. Now, guys, I'm going to show you something interesting with this ETH chart. So, considering what is going on here, and these guys have accumulated what appears to be tons of ETH. Now, those of you that have been watching the show long enough, and I'm talking whoever was watching me say in October, November, this is a move that I was calling on ETH. And I was saying in the newsroom earlier today, I didn't have that much conviction on it, but it was there. It was staring us in the face as a possible move here for us. So we were looking back at the time, we were looking at the ETH bouncing off this trend. And Ben Cowan was also talking about a recovery bounce here on ETH at the time. But for me, we needed to get through that 200-day MA. And I was saying, until we do that, we can't actually get too bullish on ETH versus BTC. Now, this move has played out. It's taken 7-8 weeks to play out, but we are now in the area where I wanted my bottom. Okay, and I'm going to say bottom because ETH gets completely abused all the time. But we are finally here at the 0.29 zone. So is this finally our trigger area where ETH does get to do its thing? And is this tying in with what these guys are doing here at the moment? So tinfoil hats on, okay? You get it, but they are buying it. Okay, thanks for your tinfoil hat situation there, guys.
It's always here anytime. I don't take mine off.
Conspiracy.com. Okay, so ETH BTC, to be fair, is in a monthly level. It is in a weekly level. This is a bounce area. So you can drop a couple of percent more, and I'm talking 3 or 4% more into this low, but that's a potential bottom for me where we are going to look for some kind of reversal. So that is nice. Okay, that is nice. There's a little bit of bull source on ETH, and you can see we have noticed that there's been a moderate bounce already in that ETH versus BTC, but not enough to trigger a strong ETH move. So no changes for ETH for me from Friday. We are still sitting under major resistance. Like we know, our altcoins have broken 50-day MA. Bitcoin has broken 50-day MA and trend as well. We are waiting for ETH to play catch up now and start doing it. Now, there is a couple of indicators to the downside yet showing us what is potentially happening. They're trying to force divergence here. They try to push ETH a little bit higher, but it's definitely struggling at the moment. So ETH for me, you really want to crack the 3,500 level. You want to break it well, and then we can use any dips into about 3,480 as support for some kind of bullish buy, and then we'll look for a bigger move. Until then, okay, it's scalping, it's keeping it short and sweet, nice and simple, and remembering that this zone, 2,800, is still on the table. We never tapped it. Look at that. We got our downside move, but we never got to test these levels again, and that is a 618. And we know ETH loves a 618. So for me, 2,800 to 2,700 is still potentially on the table for us there, and that is just something we got to watch until we start breaking that trend. Any more action? There's Uncle there. Okay, fresh out of his meme coin. He's probably looking at his Phantom wallet right now and just counting his billions there. So congrats on your meme coin launch, sir. Okay, let's talk Trump. So there's my little Trump position there, and hopefully we're going to get a little bit of action. So I've got a very tight stop. It's at 44.599. I think you can maybe let that breathe a little bit more in case there is volatility. And then the big performer for me was Sol. So I've taken more profits out of Sol, and I added a little bit to a head short there. So you can see I've banked 18,000 now out of that Sol trade. I still got 35 in the tank. And let's see, I don't want to give up the full Sol trade. So keeping it real here in case we do start moving higher. But obviously today, let's talk Sol. Let's see what's going on. So it was absolutely crazy what happened this weekend. Coinbase has a 2+ hour wait for Sol deposits, according to 𝗚𝗢𝗟𝗏𝗡. And he says Binance has completely frozen Sol withdrawals. Now, this was earlier today. He was dropping all of this stuff. So he's talking about a Sol to 1,000. I think that's a little bit extreme, but there was stuff going down, and Ansem saying nobody talking about how Sol just onboarded 500K net new users as it's doing the most daily volume for a blockchain ever with 0 hiccups. Now, James was saying there were a couple of hiccups there. Mr. 100, what is brewing, bro? Tell us what you think is brewing. Guys, hit the conspiracies in the chats. Okay, let me know. Let me know your conspiracy theory in the chat. Is it Sol or is it ETH? What is the plan?
I just saw in the chats here too, apparently Sol's still having problems today, and Phantom as well. I just saw that, Phantom's still having issues, and maybe because everybody's trying to trade these Trump tokens right now. So I just noticed that. I haven't used it today myself, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm very disappointed in Phantom. Now that it's called Sonic, it's like, I don't know. I don't feel the same passion about it that I did.
Nobody seems to want the token at all either.
It's like, it's a shiny new project, theoretically, and faster, but now no one wants to trade it. So,
right.
Yeah, very, very interesting things going on. It shows you about branding, eh? It's got a lot. It's got a lot to do.
That chart's ugly though. It's really ugly. There's just zero interest, it seems.
And AIO says bad branding. Yeah, 0 interest. Well, hopefully they can pick it up again. Limitex says what I won in profits, I lost in fees. Okay, so yeah, guys, messy. Let's go. Let's talk Sol. So first things first, Sol versus ETH. You can see complete outperformer. Okay, you can see this thing is super aggressive here. So that is obviously from that perspective, Sol outperforming ETH. Sol BTC, well, to be fair, it's in a very tight range. So there's no real changes here. We have been in this range for quite some time. In fact, over a year. This is December 23. Look at this thing. Tight, very tight range here at the moment, Sol versus BTC. So wait for that break. Yes, then we're going to get turbo bullish on this thing. But right now, it's back in your box. We're back in this range. We're going to have to see how Bitcoin plays out. But what is interesting here, we have finally bottomed out on our weekly oscillator. Now, you don't see that often. That type of event doesn't happen very often. Look at this. The last time we hit that type of level, November 22, then June 22, and we had the signal February 22. So we don't often get these reversal signs. So pretty interesting here from that perspective. But Sol versus BTC looking strong bounce of support, but now we're pushing into resistance. When we break above that, then we're going to get a little bit more exciting. Michael says everything is on sale. So he seems to be quite happy with the current situation. Let's talk Sol. And you can see right now, Sol bouncing off 246. So what have we seen? We've seen Bitcoin reacting a little bit under one of its zones, but we've seen Sol now trying to hold some support. So your big levels today, now it depends how dramatic things get here during the course of the next hour or so, but 246 makes sense to me as your first line of support. You can see Sol is trying to play that right now. And then 231. Now, this is where they came and they hit this one in the dead of the night. Well, for me, it was while I was sleeping. 231. This was a zone I gave the hackers last night on that live Zoom. And 231 is a big zone. And you can see from this weekend, we had a 22% drop in Solana just this weekend. Almost untradeable conditions here, guys. Unless you are in it short and sweet, you're looking for quick moves. 22% dump is pretty brutal at the end of a weekend there. So key levels for me on Sol, just the most simple ones for you guys. 246. Look at those horizontals. That's what you want to see hold. Then a little bit lower, I've got 231. Call it 230. Anywhere in that type of region for me does make a little bit of sense as well. We do have some tie-in over there. So right now, yeah, not much more to report on Sol. You can see 8 hour is trying to turn over, is looking a little bit tired here from that perspective. So I would say just be cautious. What are our most bullish results here? I would say, look, ideally we get a pump and we take out this wick. I think that's going to be dealt with at some point. So if we do get a pump later today, most likely some kind of pullback. We print that lower high, and then we're going to be looking for some kind of flag. We're going to look for something to form here on Sol for us going forward. So if we do get a pump here, just be careful up there. I'll take some more profits at those type of levels, 288, 290, those types of levels. If we start cleaning out some of that wick, you most likely get some kind of rejection there, and it might tie in with BTC wicking up as well. So just play that one safe. You know your downside levels. Then let's talk 𝗬𝗘. So this is a Sol strength play. I did call this one on Friday. It was a nice mover, but again, full round trip here. And I want to give you guys an entry, a reasonable entry, where I think this thing can actually bounce. And for me, the hot zone that I like has got to be this 2.7. So guys, I think a little bit of patience here. If we do get a medium-sized sell-off, for me, 2.7, it's where it's at. It's the 200-day MA. It's my 618. It's my horizontals as well. So 2.7 for me on 𝗬𝗘 does make a little bit of sense there for some kind of bounce. And we'll call it a typical trend break and retest. And then we are going to look for higher, and our targets are going to be 3.4, and then we're going to start looking at about 4.1. So that is ideally what we want to do. So, so far so good. We got the trend break. We just want to hold that retest now and then start sending this thing a little bit higher. So no real changes for 𝗬𝗘. If you didn't take profits at any point on 𝗬𝗘, you've pretty much round tripped now, and we're starting this thing again. And Bison GM Palmy says, I've got stopped multiple times because of this mess. Guys, it was messy. I'm going to show you the SUI chart. That SUI chart it's difficult, guys. I'm going to show you. Unless you're taking short moves and you're in and out and you've got that screen time and you're patient enough to do that a couple of times, you're going to get chopped up at the moment. So we need a definitive move, whether it's another massive dump or another big pump out of the market. We need some clarity here on a lot of these tokens, because right now, just it's so much chop now at the moment. Okay, let's go. Conrad says Chainlink. I've got Chainlink. Yes, sir.
Just seeing in the chats here, people are obviously watching this Trump thing. Maybe if they see anything that's of great importance that I don't catch, put it in the chats here so we all know here. That'd be a great help if anybody sees something I'm not seeing.
Nice, guys. Yeah, we could do this together. So what I want to do is just make sure we're covering charts. I mean, it's all fun and games watching the inauguration, but let's make sure we're getting this price action live in case we get any opportunities. So that is still ticking over. There's one of the other meme degens over there getting a hug from Papa. And
well,
that is...
He'll officially be president now, because that happens at 12 o'clock sharp. So 3 minutes ago, excuse me, he's put the hand on the Bible. He'll be sworn in. He's officially president now.
Okay, well, there you go, guys. To the moon, I guess.
We'll see.
Preferably some ETH. Okay, so let us know. Okay, Stefan says he's unofficially, guys. Let us know in the chats. We'll keep going here as the news comes in. We'll do what we can do. Mr. Nagel Bagel says he's sitting on his hands. Not the worst play. Not the worst play. Anything can happen today. It's a unique situation, guys. Okay, let's get into a couple of these others. So 𝗬𝗘 we've covered. Another one you want to pay attention to, Radium, guys. Sol strength play. Remember the Sol ecosystem. You get your regular meme coins, and then you're looking at Radium. You're looking at 𝗬𝗘. Some of the DeFi stuff on Sol, and even Pyth could be one of them as well. But Radium, you can see we've had a nice move on Radium. So nice support here for us. 5.87 is what we're going to be watching. That is that's going to be your main support. So regardless of what happens today, Okay, if we get a hard sell-off in the market, it's going to be brutal, but make sure you are ready here. 5.8 is where it's at for me on Radium. Watch that horizontal. Let's see if we can get that next buy in. And Chris is shouting, dumping at us. Jeez, guys, are you sending us to zero here? Let's take a look. Okay, there we go. So remember these key levels. We're going to be watching these levels now to the downside. It's 101,980. That's your first one. And then the big one is going to be that 99.5. Now, remember, I was saying that ties in with a daily. And I just want to show you where that ties in with the 99.5. Look at this daily level here. That is huge there. Just there. Okay, you see all those daily candles? That is a level for us that we need to watch on BTC. And remember, when BTC is falling over, the first thing you want to do is keep your eyes on dominance. So this, for example, is a good thing. Okay, dominance falling over while Bitcoin is dumping. So watch your altcoins, watch your levels where they are, but keep one eye on this dominance. As long as this dominance is coming down, that is telling us a story. Let's look at ETH BTC and see. Look at that. ETH BTC on the weekly is now turning green for us. I just want to zoom in here for you. Look at that. That's turning a little bit green. So that is looking a little bit better. Okay, let's go. Radium, you've got your support. So Radium is 5.8. That is your big support. Upside is 8.15. That is a 1618 target of mine. So I don't want to get too bullish above that. So call it 8.16 is what you want to watch for Radium to the upside. And then 5.8 for me to the downside. Keep it safe. Okay, keep it simple there on Radium. Then let's talk Link. Now, Link is everywhere. Okay, and Alo says Link is one of the few coins that has done very well in the last 24 hours, despite the Trump liquidity black hole that we all know about. He loves the monthly chart, and we know this thing reacts really well when E starts going nicely as well. Link likes to respond. It's a nice DeFi play as well. And guys, this is good. This is good. Gary getting rinsed on AI plays. Yes. Are these AI? I've got a couple of AI tokens for you, and then obviously we've got AI agents as well. But I spotted a head and shoulders on Render, a head and shoulders on GRT, a head and shoulders on Neo, which is an AI layer 1, a head and shoulders on Tao as well. So there's a couple of signs there that some of those guys are going to go, they're going to go south. So we need to get to those quickly. So let's talk Link. And let's just understand bigger picture here for us for Link. So for me, 34.6 looks like the ultimate target for this move if we are going to get it. Look at that. We've got Wix in the way there, and we've got our 618. So 34.6 looks like where we want to end up with Link. We just need to get through this current Trump mess. Okay, Band 1T says, oh, Trump is dumping, not actual Trump, the token Trump. Let's get the token. They're going to send us to zero, straight to zero. Okay, we've got to hit the stop there. You can see, look at the selling here. Look at the selling. Look at that. $72,000, $33,000, $99,000, $97,000. Exit liquidity. I wonder. Oh, these are some big sells here, guys. Okay, big sells coming in here. Big sells coming in. Okay, let's go. Finish Link. So Link 2021 is going to be your support on your weekly chart. So don't worry about the noise you're seeing now. Don't worry about the mess. You really need to focus on your big zones currently for some of these altcoins. So 20.1 or 21 is where it's at on the weekly for me on Link. Let's dial into a more degen setup. And there's a couple of things that are positive, and there's a couple of things that are a little bit negative for me at the moment on Link. So the first thing that I don't like on the 4-hour chart is that there's a lot of pressure to the downside on the oscillator. So we are under a bit of pressure here. We can see there is divergence at play, bearish divergence. Look at that. The price is going up and the oscillator is trending lower. So that is telling us there could be signs for another sell-off here on Link at the moment. So we can be bullish Link, but we need to zoom out and we need to say, what is our bullish weekly level to watch? Because anything else on a smaller time frame is a little bit of noise for us in the meantime. So 2021 is the big one on the weekly. Then we can zoom in and we can say, okay, degen plays, what are we looking at? What are we looking at for a quick move? If there's a dump here on Link, where do we get a quick reaction? Where can we get a quick bounce? So your first thing you want to do is just take your fibs from the lows to the highs. You want to tie it in with some VWAPs as well. You want to make sure you're getting confluence in a couple of these zones. And you can see immediately here, 23.4 is your first degen zone for Link. So degen traders here, if you're looking for a high leverage play, that is most likely your first main reaction zone. So if we do get a sell-off on Link, 23.4 is got your VWAP from the lows. It's your 50-day MA. It's your 382 fib as well. So 23.4 looks like a decent reaction zone for me. Now, it depends how badly the market can sell off here. If it does, And for me, that looks like a nice little reaction play. How high that goes remains to be seen. It might only be a lower high, and it might be a situation where we have a downtrend in play. So looking for some kind of bounce off that type of area. And then, yes, you might see it lower again before the next move and before this thing does go a little bit higher. But DGen levels that you want to watch, 23.4, I like that zone. And then a little bit lower down, you can look at about, say, 22.5. And remember, then our big zone is going to be this 21 region that ties in with these weekly candles. So 21 is pretty much your main base that you want to watch. You don't really want to lose that guy. And then Link, if you are cruising in a Link long and this thing does pop a little bit more, remember, we've got divergence here, so that is it's not a good look from that perspective. But if it pops a bit more, ideally, if you are looking for shorts and you're looking for hedge plays, if you do get that pop and you can see that divergence is already in play, immediately you want to start looking at your next big reaction zone. So for me, that's 28, and then the next one is going to be 30. Both of those should offer some kind of downside reaction here for us. James, what's happening there? Anything exciting?
Yeah, nothing. He's starting to talk now, but it's just his formalities at the moment. It's probably going to take a while. He likes to talk a fair bit. It'll probably be going on for quite some time, I think.
Okay, guys, let me know in the chats. Do you want me to play the sound? If you want me to play the sound, I'll play the sound. But I'm going to have to switch windows.
Yeah, people are asking, but you're not going to be able to say much. And I think he's just going to be chit-chatting for a while, but you never know. Maybe there is something that's amazing comes out.
Okay, so I'll tell you what we're doing here. Okay, James is tracking quite a few accounts. So anything urgent that comes out, obviously he's going to let us know. And you guys in the chats, anything that comes out interesting, let us know. We want to have the charts ready to go. Okay, we want to be able to react if something happens here with us. So just keep us posted here in the chats as well. James is going to keep you guys in touch with what is happening as well. Okay, so Link, you know the drill. Okay, you know what we're looking for on Link. Let's talk a couple of trades that I've got on 𝗬𝗥 at the moment. Well, no more. I've closed my bonk, and we caught that bonk short last night on the Hackers live session that I did with DJ and Dave. So that was an absolute banger. And now I've just got Ondo left. So what I've done is I've actually added a touch to this Ondo position because it's one of our best performers at the moment on my 𝗬𝗥 account. So Ondo is looking good. I'm going to go through that Ondo chart for you as well. And Ondo is one of the tokens that we want to focus on today as a potential Trump pump situation, because Ondo Finance, they are on the ground in DC this weekend for the inauguration, and the conversation around digital assets has never felt more urgent and optimistic. Now we know they are launching their real world markets this next month, early next month. So there's a lot of bullishness at the moment on Ondo. There's a lot of excitement around it, and you can see after that massive the unlock, after the massive unlock that they gave us the other day, the price has actually responded quite bullishly and is really bouncing well. So Ondo has actually been one of the better performers. This thing was quite a lot higher up earlier today, and it was a very small position as well. So that thing really cruising for us. So let's talk Ondo, and let's just try and break down what is going on here at the moment. So the bullish side for me is we've broken our daily trend. That's great. So that is super bullish for us. We also at the time printed an inverse head and shoulders. So that's a nice bullish sign for us. And now we've got a typical rejection zone at 1.55. So we understand that from that perspective. And then if looking at this big chart on the daily, you want to try and identify where's my major support. So if we have a medium-sized sell-off in the market, where do I know, or where can I be comfortable looking for some support? So your first area is going to be this 1.3 level for Ondo. That is going to be your go-to support that you want to see holding. And then alternatively, if you lose that, you most like looking at the 1.13 zone again to the downside. So, for me, you can see Ondo broken down on the 1 hour chart. It's quite a tricky play at the moment. But if you look at on the 1 hour's perspective, you can see clear levels here, nice horizontal for us. We've got our VWAP pushing higher, and we've got our 0.5. So you can see immediately this 1.3 zone is a zone of interest, and it is a reaction zone for us. So that is your first sort of degen level as well, and coincidentally ties in with multiple daily candle touches as well, telling us that 1.3 is a nice level to pay attention to. So 1.3, you've got your support here on Ondo. And then if this thing starts drifting lower, well, we're going to have to start really paying attention to where this thing can go. And what you want to do is, if the market starts falling over, you really want to identify stronger areas. So even on a 1 hour time frame, you can start looking at a few big zones to the downside where you can get your reaction. But always just zoom out. You can see quite clearly here 1.13 is a big area here. This is a major weekly level for us. This is also our 618 fib. So remembering that, and you want to go down here, you can see 1.13 takes us to this region, takes us to this whole section down here at the bottom. So that is realistically where you're going to get your next big move. So if we start melting down, that for me is your most realistic next buy zone for Ondo. So just play it safe here. If it doesn't hold that 1.3, just be careful. There's nothing major in this area. Yes, there is a 618, but it's not like a major level for me. So just be careful. 1.3 for me. Alternatively, 1.13 is where you're going a little bit lower on Ondo. Now, let's talk AI agents, because these things have been putting us under a little bit of pressure. And the first one for me is virtual. Now, again, it's not a high conviction zone. So you can see where I've set up this trade. The ideal trade for me on virtual is 2. Okay, that is what you want to be watching. What is Farah trading here? He says, don't ape in big size until USDT gets rejected at 4.3%. Don't FOMO. Correct, guys. FOMO is not worth it. Okay, you don't need to FOMO. So patience pays. Really, it really does. And what I can say here on this virtual chart. So what do we know? AI agent, yes, it's bullish. Is it time for a sell-off? Yes. We've had a nice breather on these things. Where can they react? Where can I get a buy if I'm still bullish on AI agents? What can this do for me? So number one, let's look at the oscillator. You can see this oscillator is not bottoming out yet. So it's a little bit of a concern. I really want to see either capitulation on the oscillator, or I want to start seeing reversal prints. I want to see these green prints on the oscillator. I want to see something happening here for me. But from that perspective, we are getting closer. So at least we are getting to an area of interest. So that is why I've highlighted this zone. So you can see it is a zone for us, this whole region here at about 2.55. It is an interesting area. Then the main zone for me to the downside is 2. Now, this is for me where I've loaded up this potential long trade for you guys. I'm looking for a move into that area. By the time this happens, we hopefully will have our 100-day MA pushing up a little bit higher, and we might get a tap into that zone. So anything from 2 to about 1.85 for me looks like an interesting zone on virtual. So just be a little bit patient. And if this thing does run away from you, what you can do, okay, is you can go full DJ. You can start looking for trend breaks as well. And what you're going to do then is you're going to zoom in, and you're going to bang out a trend from the highs there, and you're just going to pull your trend, and you're going to say, okay, if we break this trend, it means we're potentially changing momentum, and that could tell us that there's a momentum shift. And if we break that 50-day MA at 2.85, if we start popping that could say, okay, momentum is shifting, and we now want to go a little bit higher. Coin Monty says, what oscillator is that? Well, this is the perfect time for me to actually answer your question. It's the Chart Prime oscillator. Now, if you want to find out more about it, what you can do is join my accelerator school. This is the final week to go before my masterclass, which is in 6 days and 20 hours. So all you need to do, guys, if you want to learn about the stuff I'm talking about, and you want to use these oscillators and all these other tips and tricks that I'm doing with Chart Prime, what you can do is go to the link in the show description, sign up to the trading accelerator. You're going to learn how to trade in less than 10 days. So if you don't know much about charting or trading, do the course. In 10 days, you're going to be taking a trade. You're going to be taking leverage positions. You're going to be sitting with me in 6 days in a masterclass. Okay, I'm going to be showing you things you didn't know were possible, you didn't know existed. So all you need to do is go to the show description, go under there, click at the top link. You can see here's Dylan's Trading Accelerator School. Jump into that thing, register for the school, watch the videos, and hopefully you guys are going to end up in our amazing community as well, Chart Hackers. Okay, so do the course, come to Chart Hackers, and see what it's all about. So that is happening, guys. 6 days, 20 hours. I'm super pumped about that. And we're going to be tackling that. We're going to be tackling that next week. Okay, this week, 6 days, 20 hours, guys. Do the maths. I'm going to do the maths right. Okay, virtuals. So just finishing virtuals, momentum shifting, that is the trend break. You want to break the 2.85. So 2.85, you want to clear that. That could say there is a momentum shift in this virtuals, and then maybe it goes higher. But until then, I would say your safe bet is to wait for this 2 region, wait for some action. Yes, I know there is a wick over here, but if we really have to be patient here, look at that zone to the left-hand side. That is what we're going to be watching. And Stefan's launching meme coins here from the side. He says, Liberation Day, possible new meme coin coming. Guys, that I bet you there's going to be a Liberation Day.
I don't think that's a joke. There's going to be a bunch of meme coins come out from any keyword that Trump puts out here. You watch. There's just going to be non-stop meme fuckery all day long. It's coming.
For me, I'm just going to opt out of that shit. Okay, it's too much. It's too much, guys.
Too messy.
Too much. If you've been caught up in a few of these, you'll know. Okay, you'll know. You sit back. You let the DJs do what they need to do, because you know what? 90% are going to get rinsed anyway. Okay, you're going to see a couple of P&Ls, but I tell you what, 90% are going to get rinsed. Okay, here is Fart Coin, guys. Here's the fart. If you want to trade farts, well, this is what you can do. You can see a couple of things going on here. This was one of the pumpers this weekend. Nice big move. And remember, this is one of our very volatile AI agents, but we know this thing is fun to trade. And when you catch this thing, it can move. But look at that, 38% down. So if you bought a little bit high, you're feeling a little bit under pressure here. But don't worry. I've got an entry for you guys that I think could be playing out. So first things first, let's get that out of the way. That thing looks pretty bearish from that perspective. So what you can see is price going up, and you can see lots of divergences here on that oscillator, and now it is starting to push lower. So I'm going to give you 2 zones where I think you can get bounce plays on Fartcoin. And what you need to watch for me, first zone, 1.464 is going to be your first one. So 1.464, that's where it's at for me there. And then a little bit lower down, 1.12. That is going to be your next long zone. So these are the best sort of high probability areas for me that I like on Fart. So there's no trade here in this current region. For me, 1.46 or 1.465, that type of region, even just a little bit higher, 1.53. Look at that VWAP. Okay, let's not forget that VWAP is there. So let's call this 1.53 to 1.46. That is my higher impact, higher probability bounce zone for you guys. Then a little bit lower down, 1.12. So those are the 2 zones that I'd be interested in some kind of scalp play. So look out for that. You most likely get a bounce. And remember, you don't have to shoot the lights out. You could look for something like that, which is 35% on its own. That tiny move is 35% if it bounces there, and then let it print a lower high. Let it come back down. You catch the next bounce as well. You can do that whole situation there on Fartcoin. So just be patient, wait for your hot zones, get those reactions in those good areas, and then you will be rewarded for your patience. AI XPT, look at this little banger. And this was one of the levels we were looking at earlier today. In chart hackers. So this guy is sitting on 618. Look at that. We've got our divergence playing out on the 2 hour as well. And we've dropped into horizontals and a 618. So immediately a reaction. Look at this thing exactly on that 618. Okay, 0.591. And that is going to be now your support that you're going to use today. So just like we looked at Fartcoin, you can see I've got 2 levels of interest here. The same story with AI XPT. So if we do start rolling over, so let's say we're in a downtrend now on AI XPT, what if we push higher here and we start rolling over? Your next reaction zone, 490. That is going to be your play. So right now, what you got, 5910, that is your support you're watching right now, AI XPT. Next zone, 4910. Okay, and you can see we've got divergence in play at the moment, so there could be some kind of short-term bounce on this AI XPT. So I mean, nice little reaction so far. Look at this thing, little 8%er off a 618 and horizontal. So nice little banger there. Then let's talk 𝗬𝗎. Now the 𝗬𝗎 guys are in town. Okay, they're taking over Washington DC. Okay, watch these guys. They look very smug. They're very happy with themselves in their suits. And they say 𝗬𝗎 is the official sponsor of Trump's inauguration ball tonight. As an American-made blockchain from a former Facebook team, is so obviously going to be a leader the next 4 years. Okay, so this could be one of our American tokens you want to play. So what I want to point out here for you guys, and this is pretty important, 𝗬𝗎 has held the 50-day MA since 4th of September. The 50-day MA has been support for 𝗬𝗎 since the 4th of September. This is not support you want to lose. We do not want to close under the 50-day MA for 𝗬𝗎. It could get a little bit bearish. So you can see right now, we are in the make or break zone right now for 𝗬𝗎. This is a no close under zone. This is pretty important here. So 4.48 is your bounce zone that I would say now for 𝗬𝗎 that needs to hold. If we start closing under the 4.48 zone, if we start closing under the 50-day MA, what could potentially happen here is we start turning bearish on 𝗬𝗎. Now, what that means for the rest of the altcoin market remains to be seen. But all I can see here at the moment is a 50-day MA under pressure, a rising trend under pressure here. This thing needs to bounce. So close under 4.48, might start turning pretty bearish on 𝗬𝗎. Then you're looking for your next reaction zones. What are those zones? 4.24, 3.94, and 3.5 are your next reaction zones for 𝗬𝗎. So best this thing bounces now. What you can use as support is the dump lows. So 4.31. Look out for a wick into that zone and a quick buy up. 4.31, 4.32. Look for that quick buy up there. And then ultimately we'll say, okay, that was a close one. And we want to see this thing pump. But if it doesn't, this trend is in danger of being lost. Look for that close under that 50-day MA. Could be bearish for 𝗬𝗎. Now, we know that 𝗬𝗎 sometimes sinks to its own hymn sheet and sometimes pumps when the rest of the market doesn't do things. And it could be a situation where the rest of the market holds and 𝗬𝗎 starts turning a little bit bearish as well. So I just want to point out to you guys, this is a critical time for 𝗬𝗎. It's a must bounce area for me to stay super bullish. So watching that one, guys, this will obviously be in 𝗪𝗧𝗥𝗔𝗡𝗥 straight after the show. And then XRP, another one for you guys to pay attention to. You can see this was the flag we were looking at. And now we do have a breakout. So what is interesting, obviously, with all the drama this weekend, what did we come back and test on XRP? That is 2.82, which was going to be one of our major support zones. It's VWAP, it's 382, it's horizontal. So that was always going to be a big area for us, 2.82. And now we've had a strong bounce. So XRP, an American coin, we know they love Trump, and maybe the market's going to love them back. And I know Uncle Run thinks this thing needs to fall over quite badly. And, yeah, I mean, he's probably got a point. But if this thing's going to pump, we want to make sure we catch this thing. So again, XRP traders, 3 is your first line of support. So you're watching 3 now. We've reclaimed that. We've reclaimed the VWAP. We've got our 236. So 3 is your first level of support here. Next level, 2.82. What do you want to see now? XRP, now it must move. We've broken the trend. We've had a retest. Look at that strong buy up on the candle. Now we want to see this thing start printing highs. Now this thing must start cooking, or we are in danger of another visit to that 2.82. So looking decent so far with a nice buy up. How's our BTC here? Did I get stopped? Oh, God, they stopped me. They absolutely stopped me here. Again, lessons for stops that are too tight, guys. Lessons for stops. Look what they hit. James. Straight into this 101. Look at that. Straight into 101,980.
The weekly open. With perfection, the weekly open.
Straight into
and
the
right
bank.
back up.
Oh, God. Okay, guys, there's lessons here also. There's lessons here for watching the chart while the shit's going down. There's lessons here for slightly wider stops as well. I mean, that was a bit of a waste. Okay. But yeah, 101,986 was our zone there in those horizontals. You can see it's just a simple area where you expect a reaction. Okay, so nothing too fancy going on there. Okay, so XRP, guys, you know the drill now. Let's talk Doge as well. And, Doge, look, it's part of government now, in theory. And there's a couple of things that I want you to pay attention to. So it's still bullish for me at 336. As long as we're holding this 336, we should be okay here. So any dips into that type of zone, 336 for me on Doge makes sense. And then upside plays, I would say, look out if you get a push today. Just look out for this wick. Look out for the takeout of this wick before they send it lower. So, it's quite easy for them to send this thing up, grab that liquidity here, and then send it back down. So all I want to see from a bullish standpoint, I want to see 336 hold for us. That needs to hold with a rising trend. Then I think we're okay. There's 100-day support back up there as well. Then upside targets for Doge, 433, and you're looking at 472. That's pretty much that. And then, guys, we got a couple of minutes here.
Hey, boss.
A couple of bearish things. Yes, sir.
Real quick, this is flying all over Twitter right now. The White House put out a formal statement of Trump's most important issues right now. Bitcoin was not mentioned. a reserve wasn't mentioned. Everybody's going, he's not even talking about this. There's a whole bunch of bullet points about making America safe again, making it affordable and energy dominant again, draining the swamp, and there's a bulleted list within those categories, but Bitcoin was not mentioned in any of it. So just careful.
So, and then somebody's Avinash Rao has just dropped in chart hackers. He says Elon Musk's Doge to be sued within minutes of the Trump inauguration.
Yeah,
okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Okay, so that has just come through on the chart hackers guys in the traders chat. They're just dropping that in here for us. Okay, so yeah, I mean, look, I think it would be a stretch if we were asking him to start talking about crypto on his inauguration day. I think it is a little bit of a stretch. But yeah, okay, let's see how we go. Doge, if Doge is going to get sued, guys, it will be in the headlines and there's going to be pressure. Okay, so look out there. If this thing gets a pump, look out for a rejection at those areas I've just given you. Then I wanted to talk about a couple of bearish things out there in the market. Now, I picked this up earlier today. Every Monday, I do the chart hackers charts and I update higher time frame levels and things like that. And something that's bothering me, and it's particularly on these AI tokens, are these routine head and shoulder type setups that I'm seeing on NEAR. I saw it on Render. I saw it on GRT. I saw a little bit of it on the 𝗬𝗏 as well. So just something to watch, okay? Just something to pay attention to. We know these head and shoulders, they play out. Look at that. There it was there, okay? Dumped. Okay, now we've got it again. What does that mean for us on NEAR? So if you're sitting in a NEAR position, I don't want to spook you out of anything, but I want to say your first line of support that you really want to see hold is this 4.5. Okay, 4.5 is a big one. That is your major horizontal. That's going to be a daily and a weekly level. So 4.5, that's where it's at for me. On NEAR, you're looking for a bounce there. Okay, if that fails, the reasonable target for this head and shoulders is going to be 3.6. That is your zone. So be prepped, be ready. If we do get a capitulation event or the market starts dropping, okay, 3.6 is what you're watching for NEAR. That's going to be an amazing entry for that thing as well. And typically, remember the rules. If we get a dump into that zone, what happens? We pump higher and then they come back and they fill those wicks. And then if we stay bullish after that, then we pump. So remember, get your buys in on these hot zones, but take profit when it bounces quickly, and then we most likely come back down. And Slurp says, what happened to WIF? It's practically at all-time low. WIF and Solana meme coins got
not as bad as Popcat.
Fuck me, Popcat.
Oh,
done.
man.
I'm done,
it's just a complete capitulation. I mean, that thing is damn near going to zero if this keeps up. I think everyone's just given up on it, eh?
Yeah, there's Popcat's done. Look at this thing.
Disgusting.
Yeah. It's absolutely disgusting what is going on here with Popcat. And all I can say is, guys, we'll get a bounce at some point. You can see Popcat bounces, but it hasn't been fun. So let's just look at the bounces we've had on these big zones. 34. Okay, not amazing. What did we get here? 38. What did we get here? 51. Okay, it was 51% the last couple of days. Now, new lows again for Popcat. So if you want to trade the Popcat bounce, you can follow this system all the way. You can see it bounces off reaction zone. So you can see it bounced off this region as well there. Okay, so it most likely bounces off the 3.8 zone. So if you get a wick into 38 today, okay, you most likely get a 30 or 40% bounce on Popcat, and then it probably comes back down there, and then you probably get the same thing, and then it's anyone's guess what happens after that. So I would say nibble around at 3.8. Okay, have a look there. See what's happening. Tie in your oscillators, even if you're using a regular RSI, tie that in. Look for that thing to be heavily oversold. Try and spot some kind of divergence. You can see we're close on Popcat, and we probably get a bounce here. So I'd say 38 is your bounce zone. So that still is, it's quite a sizable move still from 42 to 38. I mean, that is, you're looking at another 8%. So that's pretty substantial. And Grote says Trump killed the memes. I believe he did. I believe he did. Okay. Guys, there's your WIF. Anyone asking about WIF? We are in our sort of last gasp zone again. You can see we had a 36% pump on WIF the last time we hit the zone. Are we going to get a pump again? Looks very similar to Popcat. So expecting some kind of reaction down to 1.33. If not, be ready, guys. Be ready. 1.13. That's where it's at for me on WIF. That is what you're going to be watching. And Teddy says Trump taking back the Panama Canal. The man's moving. The man's making some moves. Okay,
is he really actually going forward with that? That's insane. He says he's just going to go take it back. I just saw in comments going, he's coming up with crazy stuff. You guys have to watch this. I guess that's one of them. And he's also apparently supposed to be renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America on one of his orders today.
The man's making moves. Okay, James, thank you. Hackers, I'm dropping these charts into Hackers for you guys. Now, guys, good luck out there. Hey, I mean, let the man finish talking. Then the market will decide what the real thing is, James.
Yeah.
See you later. Let him finish talking. Okay, then we're going to see where we end up, because after he's done talking, we're either going to get the pump or we're going to get the big dump. So, yeah, just be patient out there. Be safe. Small positions here. Nibble around on the good areas. Don't waste your time on not so good zones. Watch the good zones. Those are going to be your money makers now on any moves up or down, which you're going to be watching. So, guys, good luck. I'm back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Catch you later.